Lord of the Rings Gollum was universally panned as one of the worst games of 2023. But I played through it recently and was surprised by how much its story affected me. I haven't been able to get this game out of my head. It has such an incredible slow burn warmth and tenderness that when the crushing reality check at the conclusion hits home, it does so with the force of a freight train, and it left me absolutely reeling. So, here's how the so-called worst game of 2023 nevertheless has one of the very best stories of the year to tell. The game begins with the story of Gollum's capture, imprisonment and torture in Sauron's fortress of Barad-dûr, as seen at the beginning of the Lord of the Rings films.
I looked everywhere for the creature Gollum, but the enemy found him first. I don't know how long they tortured him, but amidst the endless screams and inane babble, they discerned 2 words.
Sauron! Baggins!
Sure. Baggins.
We then see his life and subsequent escape from Barad-dûr in the years that followed. This is told as a flashback while Gollum is being questioned by Gandalf. He'd managed to escape Mordor only to be found and imprisoned by the elves of Mirkwood, where Gandalf visits him. Once up to date, the story continues with Gollum's attempt to escape the elves so that he can make his way to the Shire to recover the One Ring, along with the efforts of Sauron's forces to kill or recapture him to prevent him from revealing its existence. The core gameplay is platforming, using Gollum's sinewy athleticism to navigate sprawling environments with some stealth and puzzle elements thrown in, along with a few set pieces. Having completed the story over the course of 15 hours, I agree that overall it's a pretty poor game. The frame rate particularly is awful, with regular frame drops even on a capable system, and the early levels are quite frankly terrible. Ugly, repetitious, and dull when not interrupted by some highly questionable set pieces. But there are also some redeeming qualities. While the platforming is generally uninspired and janky, there are times when you really do get the sense of being a sly creature of the shadows scuttling around the world, and the game can provide a strong feeling of achievement when you do reach the end of a particularly challenging climb. And though the unclear routes and clumsy handling will cause you to die often, the checkpoints are usually quite generous and the respawn time swift, so you can keep throwing yourself back in to grind out a win and progress the game by sheer attrition if necessary. One of the most interesting game mechanics is how you can make decisions and respond to NPCs with either Gollum's cold-hearted cruelty or Smeagol's childlike kindness, often having to argue with and persuade the other personality to your desired outcome, sometimes losing. Admittedly, it does not feel that impactful at first, but it does end up providing one of the key story beats of the game, but we'll get to that. YouTuber Never Knows Best provides a great review of the game and I highly encourage you to check it out. I'll leave a link to it below. The only thing I would add to his comments is to emphasize that the world is genuinely beautiful when you eventually reach the elven land of Mirkwood, and incredibly atmospheric when these vistas are paired with the strong, evocative soundtrack. What really captivated me about the game was the interaction Gollum has with various characters along his journey, particularly his friendship with 2 key characters later in the game. Mel is a blind elf imprisoned in the cellars of the Elven King's halls, who teams up with Gollum to secure her escape to find Gwendil, her missing mentor and possibly her lover. Mel is initially cold towards Gollum, and their relationship is transactional, a convenience of shared objectives. They both want to escape the Elven King's lands, her to seek out Gwendil, he to continue his journey to find the One Ring. But over time they get to know each other. This is particularly notable when Mel is guiding Gollum telepathically, for reasons, on a quest to find an item that will secure her release. They learn that they both enjoy riddles, and she encourages his appreciation of them, contrasting with a friend Gollum makes earlier in the story, who had dismissed them as silly.
Do you like riddles? Riddles are silly, aren't they, my precious? Who told you that? We should play the old game sometime. The old riddle game. Let's start with a simple one. It needs at least 2 to hold me. Strange, for nothing do I weigh.
Nothing do I weigh, nothing do I... Hold, a grudge.
Good answer.
We never lose this, do we, precious? Only once, and that time we was cheated.
She also shows great empathy for Gollum despite knowing something of his dark past.
So tell me, who is Deagle? Who is Deagle?
Deagle?
You can tell me.
How does it know about Deagle?
Overheard some bits and pieces while the wizard questioned you. He died, I heard him say. By your hands. Is it true?
Lies. The wizard was lying. We swears. Drowned it in the river. Deagle was long times ago.
Was he your friend?
Our only friend, but Smeagol doesn't remember his face anymore.
I'm so sorry.
Their various interactions felt like a flicker of kindness that might be kindled into genuine warmth, so I leaned into the relationship, selecting Smeagol's dialogue options in the hope of establishing a friendship that might end the tyrannical grip of the cruel and ring-obsessed Gollum on his life. And, over time, a genuine friendship seemed to develop.
Smeagol, my friend. We've made it.
Friend.
Come. Let us follow the sun.
But there was no true friendship to be had. Smeagol's interactions, initially sweet, swiftly soured. He ends up resenting Mel's closeness to Gwendol, and after you reunite the two, he starts hoping Gwendol will perish so that Mel can be his friend instead forever, relying on him in her blindness. Then, when Gwendol is injured and orcs arrive on the scene, an opportunity to manifest this outcome arises. When I realised the perverse direction of Smeagol's thinking, his toxic, obsessive view of friendship and the evil lengths he was willing to go to satisfy his selfish desires, I desperately tried to redeem my mistake by siding with Gollum, the creature whose influence I had until then sought to diminish as much as possible, but whose logic that Gwendol should be saved to earn the favour of being left by the elves to go his own way unhindered, offered the only way to prevent an evil and calamitous act. My heart was racing as I sought to choose the right answers for Gollum to win the argument.
Time for our little game, my love. He would take Mel and go into the dangerous well with her. Smeagol won't kill him. No, of course not. Good Smeagol, just throw a little stone. Then Mel can be our friend forever. Friend. When has Smeagol ever been any good for his so-called friends? Smeagol always helps. Remember the glass snake? That one didn't go home to his desert, did he? Smeagol tried to warn him, only she was too fast, so very fast. But we tried, saved it from the light. Very well. One more. Even his little one betrayed Smeagol. Smeagol never did it any harm, did he? No, Smeagol gave it life. Oh, the bird. And how does he repay us? Flies right back to the Candleman. Nice friend. Smeagol is good now. Remember the frail man? Smeagol sent the orc into the light instead of him. And he didn't like it. Said we robbed him of a good death. Doesn't matter. Precious can't protect us anymore. Be quiet. We hates it forever. Be quiet.
Wait.
Elves will let us leave now.
He did win, in every sense. I could almost feel his gloating triumph as he reasserted control over Smeagol with my help. I now knew what Gollum had known all along, that he and Smeagol were not different personalities, one evil, the other redeemable, but rather different shades of the same corrupt humanity. They would continue to walk hand in hand together, inextricably linked, while I was left behind cradling the shattered remains of my foolish hope. Little One is a bird that Gollum hatches and befriends in the land of Mordor. Gollum seems to have genuine affection for Little One, and seems deeply moved by the idea that Little One will love him. Little One in turn is a cheery little creature that shows great affection for Gollum, even assisting with his breaking out of Barad-dûr. Whether Little One truly understands his actions as aiding Gollum against Sauron's forces is questionable, a point that I'll come back to later, but it is clear that he wants to help and please Gollum. Later though, Little One appears to be a spy for the overseer of Barad-dûr's dungeon, a character Gollum knows as the Candleman. Little One reveals to the Candleman that Gollum is being held by the elves of Mirkwood, and the Candleman uses this knowledge to launch an attack on them in an effort to recapture or kill Gollum, fearing that he is going to reveal the existence of the One Ring to them. Gollum feels betrayed by Little One, and the story culminates in a decision for Gollum. Does he kill Little One, avenging the betrayal and releasing Gollum from the threat of constant surveillance by Mordor? Or does he let his friend live? The answer to this question partly turns on how you perceive Little One's actions. Gollum certainly sees Little One's acts as a betrayal. This perspective is perhaps influenced by Mel's negative opinions of Little One. Earlier, she says that there's something foul about the creature, and Mel is someone Gollum has formed a strong attachment to at this point. It was also Bird spying on him that led to his capture and torture by Sauron's forces at the beginning of the game. But earlier, when Gollum was first captured by the elves, he actually asked Little One to go and get help.
Bird must find help. Elves have caught us. Terrible spirits. Bird must find someone. Someone fast. Go! Go!
And who else would Little One fly to other than the Candleman, a person who Little One had seen keep Gollum fed and safe from harm? Little One also saves Gollum's life at the climax of the game, distracting the Candleman when he's about to shoot Gollum with a crossbow. Admittedly, Little One appears to give Gollum's position away in the first instance, giving the Candleman an opportunity to shoot. But if Little One is acting for the Candleman, it does not seem to have been with the intention of causing Gollum any harm, and, seeing the threat to Gollum's life, Little One acts to protect him. This dichotomy is emphasised when we see Little One at the beginning of the climactic scene silhouetted by the moon. Earlier in the game, when Gollum and Mel discuss the moon, he refers to it as a spy, appearing to see its light as cold, searching beams posing an existential crisis to him as a creature that survives in the shadows. Mel takes a different view, considering the moon's pale regard a beautiful thing to be cherished. She even suggests that both of them need to have more of the moon's light in their lives. Is Little One a watchful spy, or is he a well-intentioned friend? Or possibly both, a weak creature trying to survive through subservience to stronger masters while nevertheless having genuine love for Gollum? Two truths, not necessarily mutually exclusive. I couldn't bring myself to let Gollum kill Little One. Spy or not, letting him live would allow Gollum to retain a small amount of humanity, keeping alive the hope for redemption in the future. Sadly, I suspect the canon ending is for Little One to die at Gollum's hand. The final scene of the game sees Gollum confronted by the Doors of Doran on his way to the Shire to recover the One Ring. "Speak, friend, and enter," they read. But Gollum is no friend and he has no friends. Anyone having the misfortune to draw close to Gollum has been hurt, betrayed, or died. I had hoped the Mel might offer a happier future for Gollum, but his withered humanity meant that true friendship was never an option. All I could do in the end was steer a course of the least destruction for a creature I had been rooting for, but which I now pitied as the perverse being he truly was. The game ends here, at the doors of Durin, through which only a friend could ever pass, and which therefore present an impenetrable barrier for this lost soul. So what's the point of this video? To be clear, I'm not recommending Gollum, especially not a full price of £40 here in the UK. I do think that if it's on sale, then perhaps it's worth taking a look on the understanding that the experience is, on the whole, objectively poor, but not without redeeming qualities that might make it subjectively engaging. If Never Knows Best's review piques your attention as it did mine, then maybe it's worth giving it a go. Partly I'm making this video because I want to express to someone how Gollum made me feel. When the credits rolled, I had an ache in my chest and behind my eyes I wouldn't let go even days later. I also want to acknowledge the good work that is in the game. Daedalic, the developer, was absolutely trashed by the YouTube gaming community, but I think unfairly so. There are genuine moments of brilliance in Gollum, and its storytelling really connected with me. I've read that Daedalic were given the opportunity to make a Lord of the Rings game because they were trusted to deliver a story-orientated experience, and I think they really nailed the brief in this respect. So I want to give credit to a team that gave an honest-to-goodness swing, even if they did strike out. Which leads me to my final point. There is a lot of discussion currently as to what makes a game good, and what gamers are looking for, driven by the commercial success of games like Palworld and Lethal Company over recent AAA efforts. I put quite a few hours into Palworld and ultimately bounced off of it, reeling from the sense of being one of Schultz's rats, my conscious self bitterly aware of my subconscious supping mindlessly at the dopamine hits it offered. I wondered just how many streamers playing Palworld right now are truly enjoying the experience, rather than simply being satisfied by it in a transitory, chemical-driven way. So my contribution to the discussion is that average gamers like me, in searching for the next enriching single-player experience, should consider looking beyond the polish and dazzle of AAA games, or the next addictive guinea pig wheel popularized by Twitch, because I think the perception of these qualities resulting in a genuinely good game alone is misguided. Instead, I'd suggest snuffling around amongst the mulch for the overlooked mid or even bad game. Because here I think you'll find games with a heart, put there by the love and passion of their developers. And even if the result of that honest-to-goodness swing is an overall miss, you'll probably find the thing that made the developer step up to the plate in the first instance, and it will be far more resonant than any dead-eyed graphical polish or gameplay optimization can be on its own.
No, wait!
Did you just jump? You are bold. I like it.